Okay, hi everybody. This is so fun. We have such a big crew on today. So my name's Laura Murphy, and I am super excited for this call today that I just had kind of on my heart to put together and just share with you guys. So I'm glad that it came together, and I know we did it quickly, but I know a lot of people are into this whole like last minute making plans right now because we're not kind of as busy as we normally are. So I'm glad that you could hop on. So I want to share with you quickly what this call is about and why I decided to put it together. As you guys know, on June 1st, I literally don't know what day or month it is. I cannot believe that it's June. I was just like in awe of all the incredible things that are happening in our teams and across the board in Arbonne, but there's just so much. So I was just kind of zoned in on our teams here and the amazing things, the exciting things, the new promotions to all levels, like all the new district managers. I know there's like dozens and dozens and dozens. New areas, new regions, new nations were born as of June 1st. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, all these people are so incredible. And as much as I would love to have like hundreds of stories be able to be shared with you guys, I know that that's not possible right now. So I wanted to kind of highlight a few of our new VPs that have promoted in our whole success line. This is from Liz McDonald's nation down. And there are, I think we had, I figured it out last night. I know in my success line, we had 8 regional vice presidents, I believe, and 1 national vice president promote. And so that's like Kate's and Jessica's nations. And then Liz had, I think, 3 regional vice presidents promote, has another nation qual. Like there's just so much going on. And like, again, we can't even share all the VP promotions with you guys, like as far as their stories, because there's just so many. So I kind of picked a few and hopefully we'll get to hear from everyone later. But more than anything, you guys, I just wanted you guys to hear from people to realize like what they've done is not exclusive to them, and that it's available to those who decide to walk this path, decide to put the work in, who decide to grow themselves and overcome the obstacles and all the things that you're going to hear about today. And I just wanted to offer a little bit of inspiration as we start this exciting new month of June. I have so many good vibes about our business, and I'm just so grateful that this business is able to be such a positive outlet for people right now with so much happening around us in the world. And it really is a place where you can turn to and put energy towards growing your business, growing yourself. And both of those things are going to equal amazing things in your life. And these people that are going to share with you are just examples of that. And I know all of them have stories of perseverance and just inspirational elements to their story that I know you guys are going to love. So for the sake of time, I'm not going to do a big intro or anything like that. I'm going to leave it to them to kind of tell you a little bit about themselves. I will just kind of mention where they're at, and you can feel free to give them shout outs and all that stuff in the comments. Because a lot of them are just, this is all new to them being RVPs and NVPs. So, okay, so we're going to start with brand new Regional Vice President, direct to Kate Flanagan. This is Kira Hartman. She's in the States, and I'm just so, so happy for you, Kira, and so excited to hear from you. So you can unmute yourself.
Hi, you guys. I'm literally still in shock. Like if you would have seen me like a couple months ago, like I was just in such a weird place in my life and just so down on myself, and like I'm literally still shaking. Like when I went region, I just couldn't stop shaking. Like it was just so weird to me because I've been wanting this for ever since I pretty much started my business. But like she said, my name is Kira. I am 23 years old. When I started my business, I was 20 years old. I was a full-time college student and I had a 4-month-old. I had never heard of Arbonne before. I didn't even know what network marketing was. Like when like, so I got on a call with Kate and my sponsor, who was my sponsor back then. She doesn't do the business anymore. And they told me about Arbonne, and I was signing up the next day. I was like that 1% that just like, okay, I'll do it. And I was totally like blind of, like, I didn't even know literally what network marketing was. And I didn't know people were going to be like, oh, you do that thing? I was just like, yeah, I do. But I did the 30 Days Healthy Living program as soon as I started my business. And I had played college soccer at like a pretty high level. So I knew what it took to be healthy and fit, but I had no idea that nutrition was a part of being fit and healthy. And so when I did the 30 Days Healthy Living program, that's what absolutely like fueled my passion for this business. Was, you know, I knew I loved these products, and I knew if I was feeling that way, chances are somebody else was too, and I could help them with this 30-day program. But that was the extent of my business. I knew I loved the products, and I'd share with my friends, my family. I'd post here and there, but, you know, I always, like, I don't even know what I really thought. Like, I just thought maybe if I posted about it, like, I'd be an RVP the next day. Like, I didn't know. Like, I just was just, I don't know what I was thinking, really. And I think it was just because I was scared to treat it like a business. I was treating it like a hobby. And, you know, I knew you could be successful in Arbonne. Like, Kate was basically my sponsor, and she was an ENVP. But the truth is, I thought that I couldn't do it because I wasn't like her, or I didn't have a good network, or I was too young, or, you know, whatever those lies that we love to feed ourselves. I was a victim of that. And that's why my business was pretty slow in the first year and a half. And then one baby became two babies, and I was like, well, something has to change. Like, I was seeing girls on social media being like driving the cars and like going on the free trips and like living the life I truly wanted, like time freedom, financial freedom. And that's when I was like, well, if they can do it, why can't I? And then we went to the area, and we stayed there and some change. We were close to region quite a few times, and I feel like there was just something holding us back. And I always was a preacher of like, never settle in life. I would say that to my team. I would say that to people when I would talk about the business opportunity. But truth was, I was settling in my life, and I was at a point where I could have done one of two things. And, you know, I could have stayed what I was doing, kept doing what I was doing, settled for less than what I deserved, and been unhappy for probably the rest of my life, or could have got up and done something and just not settle for easy and just really step into who I was meant to be. And it wasn't easy. It was like, I'm like, about to start crying, but like, it just wasn't easy. Like, it was one of the hardest months of my life, being a single mom.
Hello?
Under the age of 2. I had lost a car that, you know, my ex-husband and I had. I barely had any money in the bank account. I truly did not know how I was going to get through this. Like, I literally did not know what I was going to do. I was diving into personal development. Kate would send me podcasts, and that's truly what got me out of that rut. And then, you know, my business, it was it was sustainable, right? Like, it was okay. Like, I was doing good as an area manager, but I knew I needed more. I needed more, right? And then I just woke up one day, and I was like, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. If I don't change how I'm working my business, nothing's going to change. My kids were watching me. I can't go back to easy. I have to make this work. And then, you know, April, we went into qual. It was my birthday month and everything. So I just turned 23, and it was just like, I was working my butt off. Like, I had event after event. Like, I was just like, was just doing everything all wrong. Because I'm like, I have to do this now. Like, I feel like I'm dreaming now. Like, I'm so grateful for an opportunity and the community that always picks you up. And this business literally saved me. And I know that sounds like dramatic, but it's so true. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have Arbonne and like going through the situation I was going through. And I'm also very excited to have a car again. So that will be fun to go pick it out. But just my message to you guys would be like, treat this like a business, pour your heart and soul into just trying to help others, and never settle in life. People are watching you. You never know when your story is going to touch someone else's life, and you'll be the reason why you get to help them through whatever is going, you know, in their life. And I knew, like, literally, if I can do it, I promise you can do it too. But that's my little spiel of the day. But
I love it. I
over.
love it. Thank you, Kira. That was amazing. And it just like gives me chills to think about, like, you're 23 and to have this in your hands and to be using this platform to grow, like, have more choices in your life and grow yourself personally and make an impact. Like, I just can't even wait to continue watching your story unfold. It's awesome. So thank you so much. Okay. All right. So now we're going to pass it on to another new regional vice president. Jenna is in Liz McDonald's nation. I believe a direct regional vice president to Heather McLean. Am I correct? Yeah. So brand new regional vice president, Jenna McIsaac. You can take it away.
Oh my gosh, I have like knots in my stomach. I hope it gets easier each time we talk on these.
Yeah, it will. You're awesome. You're good.
So thank you so much, Laura, for putting this on. I'm actually so excited to hear everybody's story. And I'm like, Kira, I am still coming off a high. I'm like, you got to pinch me. Is this really happening? I don't even know what's going on still. So my name is Jenna McIsaac, and I am from a tiny little town, 𝘦𝘬𝘮 in Nova Scotia. And I joined 𝘤𝘪𝘯𝘏 6 years ago in August. And I'll be totally honest, I signed up strictly for the discount. I was struggling with extremely bad acne at the time. And Heather had given me a sample, and I thought, you know what, I'll try it, but it's probably not going to work. I was the biggest skeptic, and I tried the products and I totally fell in love. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's in it. Sign me up. I need this stuff. So I signed up for the discount, and yeah, it turned out to be so much more. Like at the time, I was I just finished going through cancer treatments. When my little girl was 6 weeks old, I was diagnosed with cancer, and didn't think I'd get emotional. Talked about that a lot. Anyway, Heather started to kind of educate me on what was in products that I was using. And prior to that, I didn't care. I bought whatever product was on the shelf, whatever was on sale, I just bought it. And I didn't really pay attention to what we were using or anything. I was 29. I was healthy as can be, never spent a day of life in the hospital, and then got this like life-changing diagnosis. And yeah, it opened my eyes. So when I started to really research what 𝘤𝘠𝘀 was all about and the products, my love of 𝘤𝘠𝘀 totally transformed. So it went from me having to have the products to my entire family having to have the products to everybody needing to know about products and what is in their products. So a little bit more about me. I'm a full-time social worker. I work full-time with mental health and addictions, and I love my job. So the best part of 𝘤𝘠𝘀 is that it can be an and business for me. I will always be a working mom. And 𝘤𝘠𝘀 gives me the opportunity to have a really nice balance in my life. And people always look at me really weird when I say that, because they're like, you're working full-time and you have a massive business. Like, how is that balance? But for me, it's going to work every day in a very stressful but rewarding job, coming home. And 𝘤𝘠𝘀 is my way to shut my stressful job off, have fun with my kids, and then go and do my fun job at nighttime. So it gives me the balance to be able to leave my work at work and come home and then enjoy all the other things in my life. So that's a little bit about kind of my journey. Throughout all of this, guys, I have to say, I always wanted region and never believed it was possible. And now that it happened, it's like, did this really just happen? And I still, to this day, borrow Heather McLean's belief like you wouldn't even believe it. So if you hear somebody say, borrow my belief, do it. Okay? Because sometimes people can see something that you don't believe. And even when we were going region, there was times where Heather would just be like, Jenna, faith over fear. And I swear, guys, that sentence had got me through my region promotion, because we can tell ourselves so many excuses. We can get stuck in comparison. We can get stuck procrastinating, scrolling, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes down to it, it is up to you. And you have to have faith that it can happen, and you have to go for it. So when I declared to my team, and it was as scary as heck, it was in April, and I put it out on my personal Facebook that I was going region. I put it out saying, okay, they say you have to have it in front of you to know where you're going. And I put it out there. And that was the very first time I actually put it out that I was going region. And it happened. So if somebody says to have your vision in front of you all the time, do it, because that's the only way that I got to region, I believe, because before that it was like, oh, someday I'll be a region, someday I'll be a region. But in April, when I declared it to everybody, it had to happen because I put it out there. So that was in front of me the entire time going forward. And it's pretty exciting now, and things are really real now, because I always told my husband, when I go region, you actually now have the choice to leave your full-time government job that is not fulfilling to you. And last night, we actually had the discussion where he is now going to be leaving his full-time career. So that is huge for me, because he also has a business. So it was like working this crazy busy life for something that we had a vision for, and now it's actually becoming a reality because I put it out there in front of me, and I took the leap, and I believed in it, and I took Heather's belief in me and Liz's, and I just went for it. So there's some pretty real stuff happening right now, and if it can happen to me, it can happen to every single one of you that's on there. And my only advice is keep moving forward and keep staying busy. I always say busy people get stuff done, and that's what you got to do. You just got to keep moving forward. So yeah.
Totally. I love it. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful story. And I'm so happy for you and your family for these positive changes you're going to get to make. And you know what? It's so true. Like, you can always want something, but once you put a date on it, it changes everything. Like, all of a sudden you're like in it, right? You're accountable and you're actually moving towards it. And borrowing belief is a wonderful thing. And I think there's so many people in Arbonne that any of you could borrow belief from, because we know what's possible. So that's amazing, Jenna. I'm so, so happy for you. Thank you for sharing. And I love that I'm like catching everyone while they're still like in this, like, oh my gosh, did this happen? Like, I'm actually really glad that we did this call as quick as we did, because we're getting like the raw, real, like still on that, in that place of like, what is even happening? It's awesome. Okay. All right. So now we're going to pass it off. I saw her beautiful face on here, to the new regional vice president. Also, actually, I'm going to give a shout out, because this one is also direct to Kate Flanagan. So Kate Flanagan, you might know of her. She is a bit of a rock star and my ultimate source of inspiration. And being able to see what she did in her business, well, always, like every month, but in May was absolutely incredible, because it was like years and years of like work and effort and time and putting in the commitment, coming together and promoting 3 direct regional vice presidents and 1 direct national vice president in 1 month. Like, can we talk about that for a second? Kate, you're just so incredible. I know that it says I'm Kate, but it also says you're Kate on here too, I think. And we are just in awe of you and what you have done, and just such an incredible team of amazing leaders. So introducing our next speaker, so deserving, and I've been able to watch her quite closely build this business over the years, and seeing it come together, and the growth in your team is amazing. So new regional vice president, Jen Drake.
Hi, thank you, Laura, for inviting me. And yes, Kate is amazing. She showed up at my house at 9 o'clock on close night with a bottle of champagne and said, I'm not going home till this is done. So yeah, we've got a pretty amazing leader. So I've been in Arbonne a little over 6 years, and it's been ups and downs. I truly signed up for the discount. I didn't know what I didn't know. When I knew what I could do with it, I took every summer off and spent it at the campground with my kids, and it was a total blessing. And I truly, like, I was an area manager quite quickly, and I got to a point where it was quite comfortable for me. Like, I was quite happy with my extra couple $1,000s every month. And, you know, I'd get invited to these things, and I'd see Liz, and she'd like tell me to go for it and like get on that trip. And I remember, you know, yeah, I will. And I never really had a team that was like super fired up with me. I was always felt like it was me. And then when I found a few amazing women, I like locked arms with them, and we just went for it. And truly there's a few things, like I've always been consistent in my business. I've always earned my district bonus. I've always, aimed to have like my 5, but like it was just a comfort level. So if you're at that comfort level, it's really nice, but it won't get you where you like that next step. So I set my sights on earning AIT. I have registered for AIT every year, and I've always earned like level 2 and got the stupid suitcase or whatever it was, but I never actually earned the trip. And I was really tired of disappointing myself and my kids. So I set my sights. I like they said, like, put the goal in front of you. Like, I'm at my desk right now, and I have like RVP by, and was said 2019, and I crossed that off. And then I put like the AIT beside it, and I would track it like every week. I'd like mark things off, and I did it. And I was more focused on earning AIT and getting on that freaking beach with Kate and Liz and Christine and Laura than I was even Regent. Like, ask Kate, like a few weeks ago, like in April, like Regent wasn't even on my list. It was, how can I finish AIT? And so when we kind of had that going, then we were like, oh, let's try Regent, see what happens. And it was like, it just like the universe conspired. And that's something else I kind of delved into in the last 6 or 8 months, is my good friend Amanda's on here. And we both read the Gabby Bernstein book, Super Attractor, and really got into the whole, the universe and has your back, and trying to just really go with the flow, and doing a little more work on a deeper level, maybe with the personal growth for me. And I found that really helped build my belief in myself and helped me coach my team better. And I truly believe like there's no going back. And over the last 2 months, I looked at my calendar this morning, and I just had to laugh. Like, I showed my husband, and he's like, wow. And I'm like, that's what going Region looks like. And I don't remember who trained on it, but I remember an MVP going, your calendar should look crazy, when you're in growth. And so like, there wasn't a spare day like last month while we were doing this. And it took getting out of our comfort zone. The couple calls that were like, I think kind of game changers for me and my team was the Go for Gold that talked about the goal slicing. We all share our goal slices, and I share mine with my district managers, now area managers, and we really connect that way. And just like kind of having that goal at the front of everybody's mind every day. And so that worked for us. It might not work for you guys, but I've got some numbers people and it worked for them. And then obviously the 15-minute Facebook parties were so like beyond. Like, I was doing 4 or 6 a week, and some were great and some were awesome and some were terrible. And that's okay. But just truly like that belief, and that it could happen. And it did happen. We're going to Bahamas. My daughter was like so excited, and I hopefully will get there someday with this damn COVID, but I'm going anyway. I don't care. Anyway, it's truly a dream come true. Like, I went and test drove a Benz today, and just Kate's like, what kind of ring do you want? I'm like, I get a ring. And Liz, like, it's kind of like, it's still a bit, yeah, surreal, but consistent belief and working on yourself. And if what you're doing isn't getting you where you need to go, like, dig deeper, I guess would be my last little bit of advice. But yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jen. That was awesome. And you know what I love about your story is like so it's 6 years you said you've been in Arbonne. Like,
Yep.
You have had a story this whole time and shared it. And like, sometimes we think that like, oh, I have to be this level or whatever, have a story, but you have had the most inspiring story, like even about your summers and just being able to like have more time and like be at the camper. Like that is so powerful. And I think it's a good reminder that like, you know, it's, yes, being at different levels and growing your business is absolutely incredible, but no matter where you're at, you can find the gifts and the choices that this business gives you and share those. And that's really what inspires people. It's always inspired me. So also, I do just want to give one little disclaimer here. There are no guarantees, and like any business, success depends on effort. You can see the full earnings statement at earnings.arbonne.com. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to our next speaker, and I'm so excited to hear from her. I was just trying to figure it out. So I think Catherine, you're going to be 20 this summer. Are you going to be 20 this summer? Yeah. Okay. So that means that when I started Arbonne, you were like 7 or 8. And her mom is Liz McDonald and brought her to the Super 8 hotel where I met all of you guys that weekend. And then Liz was like, that summer, Liz was coming over the island quite a lot and bringing all these kids with her. And Catherine was like this little, like she was closer to like the age of like my Polly now. And I'm just like looking at you, Catherine, and like what you're doing. And I was telling my dad the other day about you and what you've done and your promotion. And I was just like, to be that young, like 19 years old, and you're in school, and then you're building this business and these opportunities that this business gives you to like set goals and build a team and leadership and public speaking and giving back and community, like all these things at such a young age, like it's just so powerful. And I know like your mom is just like so proud of you. And I just know because she knows all the gifts that it gives, and like you're now on that path. And it's incredible. So anyway, I'm so excited to introduce you guys to brand new Regional Vice President Catherine McDonald.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I still get so nervous talking, but I'm like, I get excited to share now because I'm just like, I want everyone else to do so well too. So whenever people ask me to speak, I'm like, of course I will, but I'm still like shaking. But okay, so hi, my name's Catherine McDonald. Like Laura said, I'm a full-time university student. I go to St. FX, so that little town that Jenna was talking about, that's where I go to school, 𝘨𝑗𝑔𝑡𝑛𝑖sh. I started my business when I was 18 years old. The month that I signed up, or the month that I turned 18, I signed up. And I was so shy then, like everyone, I just was so shy. And I was wondering, like, should I bring my business or my Tim Hortons job, should I get transferred to 𝘨𝑗𝑔𝑡𝑛𝑖sh and work there? And then I was like, well, I really want to focus on my studies, so I'll start my business. And I got a little feel of it before I went. And my first year, I was a district manager. And then I came home and I became an area manager. And then my whole second year, I was an area manager. And then now I came home and now I'm a regional vice president. But of course, like everything that was happening, a lot of changes happened recently with everyone having to stay home. So that was a big obstacle because I had to move all my stuff out of one house into another house in 𝘨𝑗𝑔𝑡𝑛𝑖sh, and I had to move all my stuff home. And then I also had to write 5 exams online, which I have never done before, all worth 50% of my grade. And I was catching up on business courses because I just switched into business. And there was also a lot of people I know around here where I live giving girls a hard time with their businesses, not only on my team, but people all in Cape Flanagan Success Line too. And we're all talking about it. And I'm like, I don't even know what else to do, because what are we, like, if everyone follows them, they're getting all the same like info from them, and then we're posting about how much we love Arbonne, and it's just like confusing for all them, like what Arbonne was. And so a lot of us kind of held back in March, and we were all like trying to get past what they're saying, because of course all of us love Arbonne so much, but everyone was just kind of like bashed a lot, so we were kind of getting tired of trying to have conversations with people anyways. And instead of falling back and giving up and quitting, we all decided, well, let's just all level up then. So everyone on our team, I kind of just kept quiet and with most people on my team, and I just talked to them. I was like, well, just don't talk about it with everyone else. Just keep doing what you're doing. Like, let's prove them all wrong. So that's what we did. And I always, like, for a whole entire year, I said region was my next goal. And that was like a month after I was an area manager, and I was like, well, region's my next goal. Like, let's go for region. And it's actually very difficult and very hard, but it's challenging. And when they say it's your decision when you're going to go region, I now understand it, because not ever would I wake up before 10 o'clock or 11. And for 2 months straight, I woke up at 9. So I was like, this is a big change for me, because I'm not a morning person. We actually talked about this the other day. My mom had a CD made for me when I was a kid called Wake Up Catherine. And it was a song because I really didn't like mornings. And she was like, well, let's make it fun for her. But like, anyways. But what I want to say is there's never a perfect time, like, to go for things. Like, in April, I qualified for RVP, which that was when I was writing my 5 exams online. And then May, we worked at my region, but it's just, it's crazy. Like, you just need to get past, like, everything that's in your way, and you just have to, like, really work towards things and do things that you're not usually willing to do. Like, I never listened to podcasts. My mom would always tell me, listen to these podcasts, like, you want to do those. And I'm like, of course, Mom, yeah. But I was listening to a bunch of RVP to B videos, and I was getting my team to listen to all those, and we were all listening to them together and, like, on Zoom and everything. But yes, you can say, like, you want to set a goal, but you really, really have to work at it. And for an entire year, I said, yes, RVP is my next goal. But when you're actually wanting to go for it, then, and you decide, like, that's when it will happen. But I know there's a couple girls on the line who also had a hard time in March with people messaging them and posting about them. And it's just, don't let them get to you, because I did let them get to me. And my mom was like, oh, like, what are we doing? Like, let's do things. And I was like, no, Mom, they're posting about us. Like, I don't want to do anything anymore. And she's like, well, we have to. Like, don't let them get to you. This is what you want to do. And I was like, I know. I'm okay. But also people are like, well, how did when you care? She's also in the room and forgets I'm talking. Anyways, well, I forget what I was going to say now. I forget. What was I saying? It's hard when people talk. I was saying, people are like, how is she doing so well? Like, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, imagine if you ever played a sport, imagine living with your coach and them telling you, do this, you have to do this, you should do this. Like, if you're wanting to get there, you have to do this. So a constant coach in your house really helps a lot. So if you want somebody to, like, tell you and be on you, tell that person and they will do it. Anyways, that's it for me.
Oh,
Thank you, Laura.
I love it. It's so good. And I love that, like, even though Liz is muted, every time she laughed, we could hear her through your screen, your thing, because you're in the same house. And it's so funny that all of you, like every day is like an Arbonne event in your home, because you're all right there. We've got Jane as an area manager now, and Ryan, and I know Bridie's around. Like, it's just incredible. I love watching it. Okay, I'm just going to put everybody on the screen. But Catherine, I think you have such an amazing, inspiring story. And I think your lesson there in not letting those people stop you and slow you down and keep you from your goals is so powerful. And I think a lot of people, no matter how old you are or where you're at in your business, can handle to hear that, because so often we hand over our dreams to these naysayers, to people who are just uncomfortable with other people doing something different and doing something more with their life. And especially you at such a young age, like you're really going against the grain and really building something that most people your age aren't even thinking ahead towards. And yeah, you're going to face that stuff. And I think showing them and being an example, and I often think, you know, there's so much around us, so much, you know, negativity and judgment and hate at times. And we can fight it, or we can know that we have an opportunity to go out and be an example of love and kindness and non-judgment and acceptance and support and community and all these amazing things. And there's so much power in that. And I think we in Arbonne are really good at that. We have to remember that. And that's really what's going to go out and make the biggest difference. And I also loved the other day that your mom shared with me the picture of that your friend had posted after you just earned the trip to Atlantis. And it was like, all you Arbonne haters, I'm convinced you're all just jealous. Like, this girl just earned herself a trip for 2 to the Bahamas. That's amazing. And I think you're being a great example, going out and showing them what's possible. And yeah, so thank you and congratulations. And Liz, I can't even imagine what it must feel like. Yeah, it's incredible. Okay, so we're gonna move on. We've got a couple speakers left here, a few. Okay, so this next story I'm so excited to share with you. I just love her and her beautiful comeback story that is just so inspiring. We have new Regional Vice President, 𝘨𝘢 Fujiki, and 𝘨𝘢 is in my Central Nation. She's a part of Krista Imrie's Success Line in Ontario.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. Hi, everybody. I, too, am also very, very nervous right now, but I'll do my best. Okay, so my name is 𝘨𝘢 Fujiki. I'm a newly re-promoted RVP. I'm from Toronto. And just a little bit about me before I sort of get into the story of how my business unfolded. My employment and education background is actually in policing. I became a police officer. I kind of come from a cop and lawyer family, so I never really thought of doing anything else. So at the age of 20, I was already a police officer, and I did that career for 10 years. And while I was a police officer, at the young age of 24, I promoted to detective constable within the intelligence unit. I was in the guns and gangs unit. So you can imagine that, like, some of the stuff I was doing was quite stressful, high risk, and kind of scary sometimes. And so I started to have some anxiety and just like a hard time, like, relaxing. So I started to do yoga, and this all kind of comes together. I started to do yoga, and then I fell in love with yoga so much that I also became a yoga teacher, because I just always wanted it to be in my life. So for several years, I was actually a cop and a yoga teacher at the same time. I was sort of cop by day, yoga teacher by night, just like living these two completely separate lives. But the yoga studio that I worked at, one of the other women that taught there introduced me to Arbonne. And what was really interesting was that she wasn't even a consultant. She was just a preferred client, using the product, loving the product, and really started to encourage me to try some things out. And so I did. I tried the baby products on my 2 then baby girls, who are now 10 and 7, because I've been in this business for 6.5 years. And I tried the RE9 anti-aging line, and I just fell completely in love with the results from everything. And I literally, after trying the RE9 one time, woke up the next morning blown away by the results, and called the lady who I had tried the products from and said, I want to be a consultant, sign me up right now, which is every consultant's dream. But I did have a big disclaimer. I was like, I will not do this business. Like, I have zero desire to sell anything ever. I just want to buy every single thing in the catalog, and I want that big fat discount. And I was very clear with her and her upline, who is Krista Imrie, that I would never do this business. And obviously things turned around, and, you know, I ended up walking away from policing, and I chose to do that because I wanted to spend more time at home when I had those two kids. And after being signed up as an Arbonne consultant for about 5 months, and I was kind of undercover and all secretive about it, I had a couple people approach me and say, like, I'd buy these products from you, and I'll sign up and join your team. Every time I talked about it, I was getting interest from people. And so I decided to begin to dabble in the business. And like I said, sales did not come naturally for me. I would literally be shaking offering someone a sample pack of RE9. Like, just asking someone to even try a free product was so nerve-wracking for me. I was quite content, cool as a cucumber, to put my physical body in like danger. When I was in the Guns and Gangs unit, I would gear up in SWAT gear and kick down doors and execute search warrants in like really bad guys' houses and buy crack undercover. But ask me to go up to a law-abiding nice lady and ask her to try a sample pack of RE9, and the fear would just like really, really hold me back. And so, I recognized that that was something major that I had to get over, and that it's just this stupid thing that's ingrained in my subconscious, that from, growing up watching my mom hang up the phone when a salesperson called, or my dad slam the door shut when someone comes to the front door to sell product. Like, I had this underlying subconscious belief that being in sales was like lesser than somehow. But when I really started to recognize the business opportunity, and knowing that, my dharma or duty in life truly is to help people be happier and healthier versions of themselves, whether that's through yoga or through our incredible products, that I had to get over myself and get past that fear in order to be able to move forward. And it's really amazing when we do those things, because now sales is actually one of my strongest skill sets in this business. So something that before I gave it a chance, I swore I would never do, and actually like hated the thought of it. Now it's one of my strongest suits in this business. So I encourage all of you to take a look at maybe your suits that aren't your strongest suits, and really put some effort and focus into making them your strongest ones, because they totally, totally can be. So just going back to sort of the flow of how my business took place, by the time I was in Arbonne for 5 months, I became a district manager. I had a small team of consultants under me. And by the time I was in Arbonne for 10 months, I was an area manager. And I sat at area manager and sort of coasted for another 3 years or so. And then finally, by the time I was 4 years into the business, I promoted to regional vice president. And I, again, coasted once I achieved that goal, which in retrospect was a huge mistake. I just got cushy and comfy and kind of sat back and didn't focus on growth or giving myself a now even bigger goal and continuing to grow my team. And what ended happening was, by the time I had been an RVP for a year, it had gotten to the point where it was only me with my area and one other girl with her area. And then she actually decided to leave the business. And thankfully, she didn't take her whole area with her. It was sort of just her departure, but it left a gap in the overall sales volume of my team that was just big enough for us to not be hitting maintenance every month. And then so after that had gone on for a year of not hitting maintenance, I ended up getting bumped back down to executive area manager. And while I was there, I always knew that it would come back. I had such strong belief. I was like Laura said in her call last night, like I already believed that it had happened and had those feelings of gratitude that it was going to come back, but I had no idea how it was going to happen. And that you have to know that it's going to happen, and it doesn't matter how. You don't have to know the how, you just have to know that it will. And I always did, but I never imagined it would happen so quickly. So literally up until 2 months ago, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say numbers anymore, so I won't say the numbers, but in March we did a certain number that is not RVP maintenance. And then last month we did double that, which is RVP Achievement Award. I hope I'm saying things okay and properly. Anyways, my point is, within the last 2 months, my team has exploded. I never imagined in a million years that it would happen this quickly, and with so much sort of grace and ease, and like organically in all of the ways that I always wanted it to happen. And throughout all this, this business has been such an unbelievable blessing in not only my life, but my family's life. It's given me so much happiness during this horrible time in the world. My husband is a dentist, and his dental practice obviously got shut down right away as soon as COVID hit. And this business, my Arbonne business, became our only source of income. And I feel so proud that I've been able to contribute so much more financially to our family during this, and that we have not had to go in debt or take out any loans. And everything just worked out so unbelievably beautifully. And I'm just beyond grateful. And yeah, okay, I think I'll stop there. That was probably over 7 minutes, but thank you everybody for listening. That's my story.
It was amazing. You could just like keep going forever. Your story is so inspiring, Shauna. And like, I have just loved watching this all come together and seeing, like, I knew you always wanted it to be like this organic thing that really like came when it was ready, and like watching it happen was like the best thing ever. And seeing all these new promotions in your team and these amazing people in your team, and you guys running with these virtual events. And I know you worked really hard to make it happen. And I will say, you know, speaking of Shauna and like really leading from the front and being amazing at this sales side of her business, I think it's been, tell me, Shauna, like how many months or years have you had your district bonus every single month?
Every single month since I promoted to district manager 6 years ago. I think except for 1 month.
1 month. We're not gonna worry about that 1 month. It's absolutely amazing. And I think that's just, you know, such a great example of like consistently showing up and what can happen when you do that. And yeah, it's been really amazing to watch your business grow. So thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so on to our next promotion. This one, and I totally screwed it up in the flyer. I forgot the E, and that is a big mistake because this E is very awesome and important, and it should be recognized. So I love this story. I'm so excited that you guys get to hear today from her. This is Megan Ostebo. She is not just a new regional vice president, but a new executive regional vice president, because not only did she promote, but she promoted Marjorie McGibbon on the same day. And Megan is Jessica Garsh's sister, direct to Jessica, obviously, in the Dare to Dream Nation. And Megan, honestly, I can say from, I don't know when it was that we first met, but like seeing you as much as I do at the events and conferences and things like that, like I always knew your commitment was there and this was going to come together. And I know there was times where like you and Jess were both like just wanting it to happen, and it wasn't happening when you wanted, you know, at times right when you wanted it to or on your own timeline, but it has come together so beautifully. And I could not be happier for you and what's happening. So I'm going to pass it off to you, Megan, to share your story.
Thanks so much, Laura. You're right. Like all these other girls on the call, I'm still like in shock. And I'm sitting here this whole, like the last hour with butterflies in my stomach. And when you just said like ERVP, like that's even more butterflies, because I still haven't even processed that part of like my beautiful partner. So yeah, it's all just crazy right now. So I started my business 5.5 years ago, and I started my business with a winter tire fund. Like we had a little pocket of money aside for winter tires. It was October. And so I knew I had to work to get that back. And I basically followed a system and dove in. I followed Jess's lead, even though I had no idea what I was doing. And right from the beginning, I had my eye on the goal of regional vice president. I just knew that would like make my family comfortable and be the answer to so many questions. And times were tough even when I started. Like I have 3 kids now, but at the time I just had my second. And so there was babies and kids all around, and it just felt crazy. And I even felt like my husband and I were disconnecting, because it's just like life is crazy when you're starting a family. But I knew this business was the answer to all our problems. Like we were literally drowning in our debt and drowning in life and like really struggling. And I remember even like selling things to put food on the table, which when I think back now, like it's just so like nobody should have to do that. And I was pretending it was all okay and faking it and showing up and being like, okay, I'm here, like just let this happen for me, you know? And I would attend conferences and feel so guilty and have so much guilt because I felt like I was taking away from my family. But when I was there, I was just like reassured time and time again that this was the answer. And I'd come home and just know that I'd have like more confidence in knowing that this business could like totally answer all of our problems. And I just had to work and I just had to stick it out. And it's been like a hell of a roller coaster, I'll tell you that. It has been like an up and down journey, and some months have felt like so great, and other times like it was hell, and I was the cranky mom and the cranky wife, and I punched a few walls even. I screamed and cried and like called Jess on the phone and just been at my end. Like there's been constant setbacks, just like there is in any business. And I remember even having at times like little to no product to even share and having those hurdles to deal with and just feeling like, oh my God, when is this gonna but I never wanted to give up. It was never like even an option because I just knew like deep down. So I had that belief for sure. And then like glimmers of hope would like sprinkle into my business. And I had a couple districts, and some aren't with us anymore, and some are still here, and some have re-promoted. And then I started meeting some aces like 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠𝑦, and my chiropractor now, like she's an ace, and like they just come in and like they change your life and they turn things around. And so like things would grow and then go backwards and then grow and fall back. And my secret, and I shared this last night on Jess's Nation call, and I was so embarrassed, like I didn't even tell like anybody, but we were actually barely maintaining a district on New Year's Eve in like just this past December. And I remember being in Moncton with Marjorie and her family, with my sister and her family, and we were just celebrating New Year's Eve, and like month end, I was like feeling so awful. And things were better. Like on the other side of my business, Marjorie was doing okay too, and she's had big goals all along. And so to just like lose my area, I was just like, oh my God. And then I woke up on January 1st and something felt different. And I just had this decision in my head, like, okay, like things are gonna change. And I don't know what it was, but something changed inside me. And I always heard like you want to bring people into the business always, but you want to bring people in that are going to like make you work. And Marjorie does that for me. Like she pushes me, she keeps me on my toes. And now my chiropractor, Sarah Williams, like she's right there too. And it's just like, it can change on a dime. And so to think that in December, I was barely maintaining a district, and then May 31st, over halfway to nation, like how does that even make sense to me? I'm still like wrapping my head around this. So my advice is like never quit on yourself, never quit on your business, never quit on your family, your team. Like things can just change like that, and the next person that you talk to can totally change your life. And I really did commit to personal development, and I thought, you know, years ago, I'd be sitting at conferences or calls like this thinking, yeah, I've decided, like, why isn't it happening? I already made the decision, you know, like, why isn't it clicking? But something was different. And so like commit to your personal development. Now I'm like, meditation's like the regular me, and Wim Hof breathing techniques like the regular me. And I'm learning and reading and exercising so I can be like a happy wife and a happy mom too, but then show up in my business and be able to like offer something and treating it like a business and servicing and spoiling and connecting with people and offering like everything. So, you know, just like doing the work. And I often would think like, why isn't this clicking? And I don't know, something just changed. 2020 has been like crap for some, but it's been like amazing for me and my business and my family and the things that are happening. So, you know, I honestly believed right from the beginning that this does absolutely have the ability to change your family history, and that's what I wanted so much, and that it's doing that right now. Like, we're gonna go test drive our Benz on Friday, and like things are, it's just like crazy. All the gifts, like someone mentioned earlier, just keeps coming, and you're like, oh my god, like this is VP life. It's nuts. So I really feel like I've arrived at my goal, and I'm able to offer my family more, but I'm so motivated to just like keep going and offer this to so many more people and just like change lives. So yeah, thanks for having me today.
I love it. Thank you so much, Megan. Your story is incredible, and I'm glad that you're sharing it and owning it. And it just gives people a lot of perspective of what can happen when you decide to really not just want it, but to really do it and to bring that energy to it. And I think, like, you know, since you probably made that decision January 1st, like, what Cecilia always says, like, belief has a sound, and it's a feeling, and people feel that around you. And to go out and sponsor those people who are better at this business than you are. And I think that is so powerful, because when sometimes we sponsor people who we think will say yes, or we think, you know, whatever. But when you start sponsoring those people who might intimidate you, and like, you met Marjorie at Starbucks, like, and now you guys are like best friends and regions together. And I have no doubt you're just going to continue to grow together. And there's just so many good nuggets in there. So thank you so much. I'm so happy for you. Okay. This is so awesome, you guys. I appreciate like every single one of you. And I'm so excited to introduce our next speaker. Oh, Christine, where's your face? I am like, literally, there really aren't words, but I will find some here, hopefully. She is the most deserving person. Like, this woman she's been on her journey for 10 years. I said I wasn't going to say any stories, but I'll do a little bit here. 10 years ago, or whenever it was, Kate and I drove up to Summerside for one of Kate's parties. And I guess we were in like heels and probably thinking we were all cool. We had no idea what we were doing. And Christine was a guest, and she's going to probably tell you a bit about this, but to see the evolution of her over the last 10 years, and to see her like work towards this goal, but in such an authentic way, and while being able to have her priorities in order in her life, and to show up in all the areas that she shows up in her life, so beautifully and effortlessly, and building this business along the side of all of that, has been absolutely a privilege to watch. And I know Kate would say, like, they're like sisters, and it's just to have this happening and have her promote. And it's not even like all this I'm talking about, you guys, with these promotions and VP, it's literally not about the title. And the longer you're in the business, you'll realize that more and more, but it's about the gifts and the choices that you get at those levels. And as that grows, and as you grow, and the people you're impacting grows, like, it honestly does get better and better. And I'm just so excited for you, Christine, and being able to watch you as a mom is a gift, and a wife is a gift, and a friend, and a leader. And you're just incredible, and so humble, and so deserving. And so I'm excited to introduce you to brand new National Vice President, Christine Archibald.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kate was at my house Saturday night when we finished the promotion, and I was like, I feel like my heart's like cold or something. I'm not crying. It's like, I just was like such a, like, I have to work. Like, I just like put my blinders on, and I'm just like, that's just me. Like, I like let go of the emotions until times like this. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I can't even talk. And he was sleeping the whole call, and I'm like, oh, right, now I'm last. And now he's awake. But that's okay. Yeah, so thank you, everyone. And I'm just like, all of your stories, every single one is so inspiring. And I just can't get over what's happening within all of our teams. It's literally crazy. And so, yes, 10 years ago, at a party, and I thought they were crazy. Anyways, fast forward, Obviously the products worked. I wanted to like do this, but I literally like, I'm not a huge fan of public speaking. I love just being in my house, doing my own thing, hanging out by myself and with my kids or like with a couple close friends. Like I'm not that like out there going person. My husband is, but I didn't know him when I started my business. But he's the one that will like talk to anybody, and I'm not. Like I'll go to the grocery store still to this day and like be the one with my head down and like on a mission to get my groceries and get back home. So I had a lot of learning to do, and I remember Kate actually reminded me the other night. She's like, do you remember coming home from like one of the conferences and you were just like on a mission to like make this happen for yourself, and you were like talking to people at the jewelry store and like you just go to the mall and like talk to anyone? And I was like, it's true, but like the thing is I had to force myself to do those things. Like I had to force myself to get out of my shell because none of that comes natural to me, and it still doesn't come natural as a national vice president. Like just because you wake up one day and you have a new title doesn't mean your personality changes. So I think my biggest thing for all of you is like anyone can have whatever they want with this business. You don't have to like fit a certain mold, and you don't have to be like a certain person to do this. You just have to have the grit and the perseverance to want to do it and to want to keep going and to want to wake up at 9 a.m. like Catherine or 5 a.m. like me, and to get stuff done. And I think from the very beginning, like, or like not the beginning, but 6 months in or 8 months in, once I made the decision that I actually wanted to treat this as a business, I always was like, coachable to an extent. Like sometimes I'd be like, yeah, okay. But for the most part, like I think I was pretty coachable and I would do what was said. I just would hold myself back in some areas. But I got to region and kind of like what Jen said, like I was comfortable. Like I had my own house. I got myself out of a relationship that wasn't serving me at all. So I changed a lot in those first couple of years in my Arbonne journey, and my life really like felt like a dream when I became a regent. Like I was marrying my man of my dreams. I was able to afford everything. Like he was able to do his thing and be a personal trainer. And we were able to travel, and I was able to walk away from my government job. So like I was very comfortable. Merrick, stop talking. And I was like, I always knew I wanted to be a national vice president, and I knew the day would come, but I wasn't like stressing about it. Like I wasn't like, oh, it has to happen. I just kept very consistent with like serving my clients, growing my team, very consistent with sponsoring new and all that. And I just was happy. Like I was just super happy with what I had built with Arbonne and the gifts it had brought. And that was 8 years of, or like 7.5 years of that, of being a regional vice president. And I never, like, I doesn't feel like there's anything wrong with that. Like I know some people promote to nation super quick, but I was just like, I'm good, like, And then I think the other thing is in my head, I like felt like I was a national vice president already, like in this weird way. Like I feel like I already had the like I didn't have the pay and I didn't have that, but like just my mindset, like I know that sounds weird maybe, but like I feel like I was doing so much personal development and I still have a ton more to do, and I do it every day. Hey. He talks a lot now and yells. But I just feel like the reason why we promoted to nation was because of obviously my incredible team. But last year in August, I went to Donna Johnson's retreat in Green Bay. Liz was going to come and then didn't come, and I still went by myself. And I had no idea where I was going. I didn't even know really where Green Bay was. I just like got on a flight and went because I was pregnant with him. And I knew that once I had 2 babies that it would just make things more complicated to ever get to Green Bay. And like, I just was like in a place where my daughter was, one sec. I had to move all the stuff off the floor so he won't eat it. Okay, so I was in a place where my daughter, who's 4, was like, I could leave her, So I went to Green Bay, and when I was there, I was super nervous because I didn't know anybody. Like, I didn't know any of these teams in Green Bay, Donna Johnson's VP retreat. But it pushed me to get out of my comfort zone in a way like I never experienced before. And I would go back to my hotel room by myself and decompress and order food in, and I wasn't like out partying with people, but I would chat with people after the trainings those days. And I talked to this one lady, and I don't even remember her name. And she just talked about like faith over fear, and that promoting to nation didn't have to affect my health. So I have Crohn's disease, and that's always like a thing that held me back, and now I'll get emotional, but I like never wanted to like get to a place where I was like stressing myself out and like sick. I didn't think I'd cry. And he's eating paper. Okay. But she just like poured like so much like, I don't know, like belief and faith over me that day. And I know we all have like our different beliefs and whatnot. But she just like, it literally like, we were standing outside my hotel door. I remember she like stopped me and was like, so what's your story? Like, you're here by yourself. Like, she could tell I was just kind of like going in and like sitting by myself, and then like talking to a couple people and going back by myself. And she was a little older. And so I told her, and she just said, I started crying to her for no reason. I don't even remember what we were talking about, obviously about nation and all that. And she just said, I went to a Christian conference the day before I promoted to national vice president. I flew to Orlando for it, and my husband told me I was crazy, but I told him, God has this figured out. I'm fine. We're promoting to nation. I will work in and between the conference, but I have to go to this. I committed to this, and I'm going. And she's like, God has this, and it doesn't have to be crazy when you promote to nation. She's like, it can happen organically, and it can happen peacefully, and let go of all those thoughts that you've been told over the years that it has to be like hectic, and you have to be out on the road every night, and you have to be like going crazy. And I was like, okay. And I just started to like really like believe that, and like read those, and like started reading my Bible again more, and just like pouring that belief into me that like God knew, and not, it wasn't me. And like, I surrendered. And that was my biggest thing. Like, I just surrendered, and I just started doing the work, doing what I could control, but I just like let the rest go. And I was like, whenever it's time, it will be time. And again, like, one second. I don't want him to choke on anything here. So one thing, like, I know this is a horrible time for like so many, like was already kind of mentioned, like COVID, but for me, I feel like it all happened as like a weight lifted off my shoulders, and like a breath of fresh air that like I wasn't expected to like show up to trainings with the baby, and I wasn't expected to like go out and do Discover Arbonnes, and I wasn't expected to like be out doing parties 5 nights a week, which is what I did when I promoted to region. So like, it was like this whole other thing, and then it like pushed me into this virtual world. And guys, like last month I did 14 virtual parties, including like a few launches in there, 11 personal, and I sponsored 30 new direct people to me, and did 20,000 PQV. I don't know if I'm supposed to say numbers, sorry. I'm like bad with knowing what I'm allowed and not allowed to do. But it literally, like, it wasn't me who did that. Like, I swear, like, doors just kept opening. Like, I didn't feel stressed. Like, yes, I'm tired probably, and like emotional, but like, and kind of felt like a little overwhelmed some days with like getting more events open for people that were like saying yes to me and stuff. But I never felt stressed. Like, I was like still like having dinner with my family, still like going out on the play set with my daughter in the afternoon, still going for walks. Like, it wasn't crazy. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I like had always imagined it being like that, but I just didn't know. And then I had this thing, and I was like, we're promoting before month end. And then that happened. So then on month end, like, my friend came over and like dyed my hair. She's like, a national vice president can't have gray hair. And I was like, okay. And like, and it's like, I don't know, it just came together like everyone else shared, like organically, but I did obviously work a lot. Like, I constantly am doing Arbonne, but I always was doing that anyways. Like, Liz, I remember, used to laugh at me when she'd come to my house and just be like, there's Arbonne everywhere. So I'm like, yeah, and if you guys saw my office right now, Kate saw it, it looks like a bomb went off, but it has looked like this for a long time. It's like, it's kind of normal. But it's just like, I have my priorities, like my faith, my husband, my kids, my business, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else to share except that I'm like probably still overwhelmed. But I just feel like when you just surrender and I don't know, and you just go for it and you work every day, and grow yourself. Like it's been like a huge personal development journey over these 10 years, and I wouldn't trade it for a thing. And I just like I have like a little library right there. You guys can't see it, a bookshelf that 𝘭𝘪𝘬𝘦𝘍's husband built for me like a few years back, and it's filled with books, and I just love it. And 10 years ago when I started this business, I had never read a book unless I had to for school. I did not consider myself a good reader. In school, I had always been told that I struggled with reading, so I never it was like a challenge for me to get through a book. So I never would have considered that at the age of 34 that I love reading books, like personal development books. So I just encourage you to dive into you and into yourself and grow yourself to become a better person. And when you become that person, everything else just comes. The abundance will just keep opening up and the title will just come with it, but you have to grow yourself first. And I knew that, and I just kept growing. And I was like, whenever it's my time, it will be my time. And the last thing I will say is that words are very powerful. And I always said, when I started, which was 10 years ago this month in May, I always said, even if it takes me 10 years to get to the top of the business, no other, government's not offering me this, no other opportunity is offering me, our average income as a national vice president, a trip to Maui every year, and a Mercedes-Benz. So even if it takes me 10 years to get to the top of the company, I'm doing it. Guys, I would say that at every DA, everything. And obviously I spoke it into truth, exactly 10 years later is when I promote to national vice president. So if you want to promote to national vice president in 3 years, start saying 3 years. Don't say 10 years like I did. But I literally, when that hit me in April, when we, May, when we went what month are we right now? June. Yeah, so we called in April. I don't even know. It's we called on my birthday in April. April 27th is when we qualified. And I remember being 10 years, I maybe should have said 5 years back then. Anyways, but that's my story. And yeah.
Thank you. It's beautiful, your story. And I think it all happened in perfect timing. And he is so sweet. I just want to reach through the computer. Christine, you're so inspiring. And I think it's just so lovely to hear how it all came together. And when you're willing to just, have faith and trust and be in gratitude, you had the most beautiful business as a region, and you were never, forcing anything. It was, going to come together when it did. And it's just perfect now when we look at it. So I'm just so proud of you, as I know everybody else is, and they all love hearing your story. All the comments are beautiful. And you're just such an amazing addition to our MVP community now. So you guys, wow. Thank you everybody for sharing. As well, I want to give a little shout out to all of our VP promotions that were not on this call, because like I said, there are many, and we'll have to get them on too, because it just goes to show everybody has a story. Everybody has something to share when you listen. And I know when I had this idea, I just wanted you guys to hear this, and I wanted to fill your cups. And I know my cup is full after this last hour and 15 minutes. So I hope yours is too. Thank you for being on. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and congratulations again to everybody. You're just incredibly inspiring. See you guys.